Welcome into Chicago Bears Now. I am your host, Harrison Graham. This team sucks right now, but we're still going to bring you videos every single day, so be sure to subscribe. All right, let's get into today's Bears rumors roundup. Matt Nagy, was he awful last night as a coach? I got to agree with Mike Greenberg on this one of ESPN for Smoking Jays. I loved the intensity and the passion. That's never really been a problem for him, but everything else, not very good. Greeny bodied Nagy on ESPN radio this morning, pointed to several statistics and facts that happened in that game last night that led to Greeny saying that it's one of the worst coaching performances he's seen. He actually said it's the worst coach game of the season by Matt Nagy. Now, obviously, the Bears had some tough COVID situations, but let's be honest. Anyone who watched that game was there to win. I mean, the Bears defense did their part to win that game, and Matt Nagy, who called plays, did not hold up his end of the bargain. The Bears' failures last night on Monday Night Football were as follows. 6 of their drives in Minnesota territory turned into 0 points. 5 personal foul penalties, including 1 from Matt Nagy. 4 drop passes. That's not a Nagy problem. 3 lost fumbles. Not really a Nagy problem. But multiple mind-blowing decisions. The weird 4th and 1 play call. Some people disagree. I thought it was a terrible call. Kicking a 49-yard field goal on 4th and 2 and it gets blocked. You should just go for that. You're a 4-9 football team. Matt Nagy is a passionate coach. I think he's a decent leader, but he just stinks, man. I mean, that's what it comes down to. He was hired because he was an offensive guru coming out of the Andy Reid coaching tree, and his offenses outside of 2018 haven't even been average statistically in the NFL. I mean, they're horrendous this year. Colin Cowherd had an interesting stat. The Bears wore their 1936 throwbacks last night. The Bears in 1936 average more points per game than they do this year. Like, are you kidding me with that stat? It's just unbelievable. And you guys see the regression. 12-4 year one, coach of the year. This guy's the future. 8-8. Well, Trubisky got banged up. Maybe he'll bounce back. You made the playoffs in 2020 at 8-8, but no real progression there. Then obviously you're 4-10 this year as things have fallen off the rails. And look, if Matt Nagy loses the final 3 games this year, he'll actually end up finishing below 500 after a 12-4 start. It's pretty hard to do, folks. That is pretty hard to do. So I want to ask you guys this. Will the Bears fire Matt Nagy before Week 17? The reason I ask that, obviously there's 18 weeks this year, but during Week 17 and 18, per the new NFL rules, you can request interviews from coaches on other staffs to interview as a potential head coaching candidate. So will the Bears actually fire Nagy, say, after the Seattle game? Type Y for yes. Type in for no. Predict it for us. We'll make this the pinned comment on today's video. During this YouTube ad break, you guys can reply right now. All right, keep it moving here. Louis Riddick, does he want to be the Bears GM? I'll go 3 Smoking Jays. I definitely think it's 4 Smoking Jays that he wants to be an NFL GM. I'll go 3 for the Bears specifically. I think he knows the Bears have some pieces moving forward, and obviously, Chicago is a great sports town. It's one of the original NFL franchises. This is certainly an attractive job. Riddick, of course, was in the booth on Monday Night Football for ESPN. I've made some positive comments about Justin Fields and the Bears' potential as a team moving forward. Also certainly said some things that about the failures of the organization, pointed to how they mishandled the Matt Nagy situation during Thanksgiving week. Remember that report? Nagy's fired if he loses to Detroit, and then the Bears had to shoot that down. That whole thing, he thought they handled that poorly. But you hear some of the comments, and you're like, are you applying for the job, Louis? I mean, I think it's pretty clear. You listen to people in NFL circles. He wants to be a GM. He wants to get an opportunity to run a franchise and to be in charge of player personnel for an NFL team. And he certainly has some skins on the wall working as a scout and as a director of player personnel, both for the Philadelphia Eagles and for the Washington football team in the late 2000s. Let's be honest. Whether Riddick should be a candidate or not, Ryan Pace should not be the team GM. If you want to make him president of football ops or whatever, and at least he's a football guy, that's fine, and just have Ted Phillips be your accountant, find the new stadium guy, cool, because Ted Phillips doesn't know football. At least Ryan Pace does. But Ryan Pace cannot be the only man in charge of football decisions. Like, that has to be someone else. There's got to be another person in the building to be in charge of that, and it can't be Ryan Pace because he's made too many mistakes. His team's made the playoffs twice and has finished above 500 once in his 7 seasons at the helm as this team's GM. It's not good enough, not even close. Will Ryan Pace be the Bears GM next year? Type 1 for yes, type 2 for no. I'm going to lean no, but I wouldn't rule it out. We know the McCaskies like him. We'll see what shakes over the next couple of weeks. I would lean no, but kind of two smoking Jays. I could see it going either way. Now, BetUS is today's sponsor here on Chicago Bears Now, our sports book, where I've been making money from all season long. Another 3-2 week this week. Chatsports.com/Bears, promo code BEARDOWN. That's where you go to sign up with BetUS and to get that 125% deposit bonus. We're extending our free jersey giveaway deal here. Chatsports.com/Bears, promo code BEARDOWN. That is the place to go. Deposit a minimum of $100. You'll get a 125% deposit bonus. And then all you got to do, place a bet on any game for any amount. Hell, just bet against the Bears next week at Seattle. They ain't winning that game. And then email us, jersey@chatsports.com. Once we confirm your account got going and that you placed a bet, we'll get your jersey size, your address. We'll ship you guys a brand new Justin Fields Navy jersey. Take advantage. Email us, jersey@chatsports.com. Let's talk about Thomas Graham. Is he the answer at CB2? Two smoking Jays. I had a couple of people slide in my DMs. This is to see, at least we found our CB2 of the future. Look, it's possible. It's also been one game. I mean, one game. Now, I will say a couple things here. Number one, Thomas Graham was terrific. He balled out in his debut last night. He looked better in that one game than any cornerback not named Jalen Johnson has all year. Seriously, like, and by the way, the only reason he even got to play, because he didn't even make the 53-man, this team decided to keep guys like Xavier Crawford and Marquis Christian over this rookie, which is just criminal. The only reason he even got to play is because the entire Bears secondary was out on the COVID list, and Matt Nagy today was like, yeah, I mean, you know, he helped himself out last night to get some opportunities moving forward. It's like, screw that. He should be starting the rest of the season, see what you got there, and it's an indictment on you as a staff that this kid didn't play until week 15. I tweeted this out earlier saying just that. It's ridiculous that the Bears started Kendall Vilder and Artie Burns for a combined 13 games before this kid even got a shot, talking about Thomas Graham, of course, not to mention all the guys that have played nickel this year. Duke Shelley, Marquis Christian, Thomas Graham looked better than all those dudes. Xavier Crawford, give me a break. He sucks. Play this kid. I mean, it's an indictment, potentially an indictment on Sean Desai to not get his message across more of, hey, this kid's more talented than these other guys. Sure, he's a rookie. He's going to make mistakes, but you got to be able to evaluate talent that you have. I loved the pick from Ryan Pace in the 6th round. I was like, yeah, he opted out last year for Oregon, but you turn on his 2019 tape, this is like a 3rd-round type of player, man. He was really, really good. I think if he played in 2020 at Oregon and repeated his 2019 season, he would have been a day 2 pick in the draft. Bears get him in the 6th round, get lucky after he doesn't make the final roster, and they have to elevate him from the practice squad against the Vikings. And lo and behold, he has 3 pass breakups, almost had a nice interception as well, and a couple of good tackles. I mean, it's criminal that this kid has not played up until this point. Subscribe to the channel because you're going to get real, authentic, passionate takes, news, rumors from yours truly here on Chicago Bears Now, youtube.com/Bears Now. Let's keep it moving. Let's keep this channel growing at a rapid pace, trying to get to 39K, then, of course, 40,000 as soon as possible. So subscribe, help a brother out. We will continue to pump out videos. Akiem Hicks, is he leaving Chicago after this year? I wanted to go 4 smoking Jays, but you never know. New coach, new GM, potentially things could change. But it certainly feels like his end is near in Chicago. And, I mean, when he flat out says this after last night's game, when he came back for the first time in several weeks due to injury, quote, I just want to play good football and say goodbye to Chicago in the right way. He knows what's happening. He's an aging player. He's had injuries. He's still good when he plays. He was awesome last night, 2 more sacks. But Akiem Hicks knows he's likely gone. And I don't want to say it's a shame because this is just how sports go. Eventually, all good things come to an end. But the amount of heart and passion Akiem Hicks has for playing for the Chicago Bears. I saw a tweet. Someone said if Allen Robinson had half the care and heart that Akiem Hicks has to play in Chicago, he'd be a much better player. And that's not to shame A-Rob or anything. He's been great up until this year. But Akiem Hicks plays his ass off every time he's out there. Good to see him ball out in probably his second to last game at Soldier Field. Hopefully he'll get to play against the Giants in a couple of weeks. Hopefully there's no injury that pops up because – to be honest, it's been a problem for him the last few years, and I think, unfortunately, that's why the Bears are going to have to just let him go because he's into his mid-30s now, 33 now, I think. So hopefully he lands on a good team, and I'd like to see him maybe get a Super Bowl because I think he's certainly a worthwhile player. Show Akiem Hicks some love. Type 96 in the comments. That is his number, of course. Give the big fella some love. No one loves playing for the Bears as much as Akiem Hicks does. Who knows? Things could change and he could return, but if this is the end of his time in Chicago, show him some love by typing 96.